grateful for the love that you've shown each of these graduating seniors and for the opportunities that you've given them to respond to that love and to share that love with others during these past 4 years. This evening we come to you not in a ceremonial prayer, but in a prayer of faith, believing that you are our source, that you are involved in our lives, that you are responding to our needs, and that you are directing our paths as we acknowledge you. As we come to such a major stepping stone in the path of these graduating seniors, we give thanks for all the efforts that have been poured into their lives through their parents and teachers and the many people of the community who have done so much to encourage them and enrich the educational environment. We're also grateful for the recognition and the honors that this district has received because of the dedication and services of this fine group of students before us this evening. But we know that the real fruit of our labors will be revealed as these young men and women move on to accomplish the goals that you have set for them. So, Father, our prayer this evening is this, that you will touch their lives in such a way that will enable them to reach their total potential, that they will seek your wisdom and your strength in all of their endeavors, that their eyes will be focused on you so that they can receive every blessing you have for them, that they will be filled with a desire to serve you and their fellow man, and finally that nothing will separate them from your mercy and love. Amen.
Good afternoon, family, friends, relatives, and the class of 1992. I recently attended my sister's commencement at John Carroll University, and I heard a meaningful story. I'd like to share it with you today. Long ago, there lived a man of great wisdom. He was loved and respected by all except one man, a certain prince who hated him. He was jealous of his wisdom and resentful of the love and respect given to him. So the prince schemed to discredit the wise man. It was the wise man's custom to sit in the town's marketplace every day, answering the questions of the people. So this was the prince's plan. He would go to the marketplace, holding a live dove in his hand, hiding it with closed fingers. He would seek out the wise man and say to him, "This bird in my hand, is it alive or is it dead?" The wise man answered, "It is dead." He would open his fingers and the dove would fly away. If the answer was, "It is alive," he would crush the bird and allow it to fall to the ground. The day came when the prince carried out his plan. He asked the wise man his question. The wise man looked at him long and searchingly, and then said softly, "It is whatever you make it." And so it will be with our lives. They will be what we make of them. I've really enjoyed my year as class president. I wish you guys, the class of 1992, the best of luck and health and in happiness. I'm going to miss you.
I'd like to begin my speech with a question. What do the Wright brothers, Martin Luther King Jr. and Debbie Allen, have in common? All of them overcame great obstacles to make their dreams come true. The Wright brothers proved the skeptics wrong by being first in flight. Martin Luther King Jr. fought hatred and bigotry in his attempts to desegregate this country, and Debbie Allen has become one of America's best-known choreographers, even though she was told she didn't have the talent to dance. We also have dreams for the future as we are gathered here today. I'm willing to bet that some of you are daydreaming right now. Whether you want to be a doctor, lawyer, psychologist, cover model, or a good parent, there's some goal that motivates you to be your very best. Unfortunately, as we try to make our dreams come true, we will encounter critics who can squash our lifelong dream with a word, and obstacles that seem to make our dreams impossible. Shel Silverstein offers some advice on dealing with these hardships. Listen to the mustn'ts, friend. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves, then listen close to me. Anything can happen, anything can be. And anything can be, especially in America. With faith and determination, we can make our dreams come true. Besides, in my opinion, success will be found in pursuing our dream, not just in achieving them. Dreams are sometimes all we have, Look at the person living under a dictator, a person living on the street, or a patient with a terminal illness. They are sustained by their hopes for a better life. Obviously, dreams are our most prized possessions, so disregard the critics. Face the obstacles, make your dreams reality, and never give them up. I'd like to thank the following people for encouraging me to make all of my dreams come true. My teachers, especially Mr. Callahan and Mrs. Austin, for all of their encouragement, support, and patience. Dr. Levine, who unfortunately passed away last fall. While she isn't here physically with us today, she's certainly here in our hearts. Dr. Maggio and Mrs. de Blasio for making a very difficult time easier. And finally, my parents. Without your love, inspiration, and especially your discipline, I probably wouldn't be here today. Thank you. Good luck, class of '92.
I remember a seemingly distant 4 years ago, back to when we were freshmen. No one expected us to do anything. As a matter of fact, they said we couldn't do anything. But this class has never been a class to back down from a challenge. Just look at our past record. We surprised a lot of people, and not only in athletics, but in academics also. We had a football team that was a WIPIAL finalist, a soccer team that was both WIPIAL and state finalist, and a baseball team that captured a WIPIAL championship. The list goes on. And by being part of 2 Excellence in Education awards and graduating today, 15 valedictorians, this class has proved that we can meet any challenge. But now comes an even greater challenge, a challenge to succeed in life, not just at Upper St. Clair High School. So when we do leave the comfort of Upper St. Clair and we're on our own, I know that we can meet that challenge and we will come out on top. So whatever it is that you decide to do, good luck, and remember, do it your way and never back down. I think the lyrics from one of John Cougar Mellencamp's songs sums it up the best. You are the young and you are the future, so suck it up and tough it out.
As we graduate today, we go out into the real world with big dreams and expectations. Our minds are focused on the grandiose, but let us not forget that it is often the small, spontaneous acts of kindness that add true happiness and enjoyment to life. As advice upon graduating, a close friend of mine gave me the following advice. Practice random kindness and senseless acts of beauty. I would like to pass this phrase on to all of you as a reminder that committing any random act of kindness leaves the world a slightly better place. Acts as small as greeting everyone with a cheerful smile and a bright hello, or shoveling the neighbor's driveway without being asked to, or buying flowers for an elderly couple and then planting them in their yard, can leave a smile on the recipient's as well as the giver's face. Remembering that you can't commit a random kindness without feeling as if your own troubles have been lightened, and that random kindness will most likely inspire the recipient to do something for someone else later. Take a break from your daily routine to practice random kindness and senseless acts of beauty. Thank you. Good luck.
Today, I would like to share with you my first literary masterpiece, written when I was 6 years old. Unfortunately, it was also my last. Okay, here goes. The Boats. There once was a boat. It sailed, and there was another boat sailing. They got closer and closer. They were in love, and they got married. She had 3 baby boats, and they got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and finally, they were big. And one went away. Another boat went away, and another one. Then they all came home. The end. This year, the Baker School librarian returned this work of art to me, precisely at a time when I was feeling ambivalent about putting aside childish things and As our class song suggests, sailing away. Today, my actual graduation approaches, but I do not feel like an adult quite yet. I have been forced to evaluate important aspects of my childhood from which I will soon be separated. I now understand that I have had no choice but to endure the confusion of growing up and to accept the trade-offs inherent in this natural process which touches everyone, even boats. My story of a family of boats not only simply defines the stages of life, but also emphasizes the fact that home is only part of life's cycle and that leaving it need not be final. With this in mind, class of 1992, let's sail.
I'd like to start my speech by thanking my parents, teachers, and friends. In fact, I'd like to talk about friends in my speech today. All of us are heading off in different directions in the fall. And unfortunately for most of us, our friends won't be coming with us. In many cases, these are friends that we've known for the past 4 or even more years. In fact, we spend almost as much time with them as we have family. I guess in a sense, these friends are our second family. Now we must go out and make new friends. But these new friends should not replace those we leave behind. We must continue to maintain our friendship and remember these past 4 memorable years we've shared with our friends. Remember, friendships are not made on a temporary basis. So I urge all of you to make a serious effort to make your friendships last. Have a fun, safe summer, and congratulations, class of '92. We deserve it.
As this class of '92 graduates today, there is a feeling of excitement, vitality, ambition, hope, a feeling that we can change the world. But how? In pondering this question, I thought it might be worthwhile to ask my parents what they had felt upon their graduation from high school 25 years ago. They responded that in 1967, the country was a very different place. Lyndon B. Johnson was president, the Vietnam War was escalating, All You Need Is Love was a Beatles smash hit, and bell-bottoms were actually in style. They said that their graduating class felt that they were going to make a difference. They felt the generation before them had done little to solve the world's problems. There was war, poverty, and racial tensions. The class of '67 knew that they would make a difference, that they thought that they would change the world. Today, in 1992, we fortunately have better fashion and much different music, but we are still plagued with war, this time in Yugoslavia, poverty, and an ever-widening gap between the races. So what went wrong? I don't believe anyone should waste time trying to find an answer to this question, because so many things have gone right. But we're still left with the question, how can we change the world? Maybe the real solution is not to try to save the entire world, but just a little piece of it. If we all try to save just a little piece, it should all add up and make a difference that our generation and the generations to follow can be proud of. Thank you.
Now that each of us are about to embark on our own careers, I'd like to read you 2 quotes which I think are appropriate for this occasion. "We know not what we are, but we know not what we may be," by William Shakespeare. "And there is no such thing as a self-made man. We are made up of thousands of others. Everyone who has done a kind deed for us or spoken one word of encouragement to us has entered into the makeup of our character and of our thoughts as well as our success." By George Matthew Adams. Thank you, and just remember, we are the eyes of the world.
It seems like just yesterday that the class of 1992 entered these halls as wide-eyed freshmen. It seems like just yesterday that I sat in this stadium and watched my brother graduate as part of the class of 1990. It seems like just yesterday that I entered this building for the first time as a senior. I think I speak for all of us when I say these past 4 years have swept by faster than we could have imagined. During these 4 years, we have seen and experienced great change in and around the world we live in. We have witnessed the fall of the Berlin Wall and the reunification of Germany. We watched our fiercest adversary, the Soviet Union, crumble under its feet. We have experienced the pain and triumph of a Gulf War. And most recently, we watched the Penguins capture their second straight Stanley Cup. Throughout all the change, however, one aspect has remained constant: time. As all of us are finding out, time is what we make of it. We can't stop it, rewind it, or fast forward it, but we can take advantage of it. Do with your time as you please, but as you start from this new beginning, I challenge you to take time for the following 10 things. In the words of an anonymous author, take time to work, it is the price of success. Take time to think, it is the source of power. Take time to play, it is the secret of youth. Take time to read, it is the foundation of knowledge. Take time to worship, it is the highway of reverence and washes the dust of earth from our eyes. Take time to help and enjoy friends, it is the source of happiness. Take time to love, it is the one sacrament of life. Take time to dream, it hitches the soul to the stars. Take time to laugh, it is the singing that helps with life's burdens. And finally, take time to plan. It is the secret of being able to have time to take time for the first 9 things. In conclusion, I'd like to thank my parents, friends, and teachers, without whom this would not have been possible, and I'd like to wish the class of 1992 good luck.
To all of my teachers, thank you for taking a personal interest in me, even outside the classroom door. Thank you for making me excited to be in school, because you were excited to be here too. To all of the parents, thank you for being involved in our scholastic careers and realizing the importance of education. Thank you for planning our holiday parties in elementary school, for chaperoning our band trips, for working behind the scenes at our school musicals, however you contributed. To my classmates, thank you for being people I can respect, admire, and enjoy competing with. Thank you for pushing me to work harder so I could keep up with all of you. To my family, thank you for supporting me, caring about me, and being a fan club I can always count on. And to my friends, thank you for laughing with me, for crying with me, and for just acting goofy with me. Thank you for being my favorite part of Upper St. Clair High School. And to all of you who have enriched my educational experience, thank you.
Sorry, Allie. Nobody quite realizes how short 90 seconds really is until they tell you that you have that amount of time to say something so inspirational that it will move hundreds of people. Well, before I attempt this, I'd like to give credit to some of the wonderful people who have so inspired me to be where I am. I want to thank my friends, the original 5, Dries, Spack, Christy, Amy, Dana, and Deb. Thanks for sticking by me no matter what. I want to thank all of my teachers, especially Mr. Callahan and Dr. Kozel, for helping me to be here speaking in front of all of you today. But most of all, I want to thank my parents for giving all the love, support, and confidence that has made me who I am. I love you guys. My parents have always stressed to me how important dedication is, and I think that this quality is the key to every one of these 15 valedictorians' success. We go to school where competition is fierce. Next year, all of us will be moving on to places where it will be even harder to succeed. Thinking about this made me remember a saying my dad would always tell me when I was convinced that I wouldn't finish everything I had to do. He'd say, "Kara, how do you eat an elephant?" And after I'd roll my eyes, he'd say what I had heard him say so many times before: one bite at a time. Now, as corny as that little saying is, I think it's something that can make all of us here continue in a successful path that has led us to graduation today. Over the years, we will all run into things that we don't want to do or think that we can't complete. But I just want to leave the class of 92 saying that I know we can all reach our goals. I've gone to school in Upper St. Clair since kindergarten, so I've had the opportunity to witness what has made our class tick. Don't underestimate yourselves. We've come from a great background, and now it's our turn to prove what we can do. Reach for the stars, dream your dreams, and all those other silly little phrases. Or as the Nike commercial goes, let's just do it.
Sorry about the little halftime show. Today, as we're sitting here in pride and complacency, life seems wonderful. As graduates headed towards college, the American dream lies in our grasp. And why not? As Americans, we enjoy half of the world's resources, though making up only 6% of the world's population. Can't our generation look towards a future without worry? Unfortunately, we can't. As I speak, our nation is sinking into economic and social demise. Right now, 1/3 of Americans lack proper health or liability insurance. Our nation's unemployment rate has soared to 7.5%, the highest since 1984. Our steel plants, most well over 50 years old, are closing by the hour, and those plants remaining produce steel so deficient in quality that many American auto manufacturers refuse to buy it. And at the root of the problem lies the lack of motivation and aspirations in too many of us, the American students. In fact, we've been rated last in academic and technological competency out of many industrialized nations. I'm sure we've heard the proverb, the early bird gets the worm. Well, we Americans seem to be the disheartened worm being extirpated from the soils of prosperity by the talons of the foreign competitor. It's time that we graduates reverse the tide and by the Latin proverb carpe diem, seize the day. During World War II, Winston Churchill shed a ray of hope upon the British people by stating, quote, "This is not the end. It may not even be the beginning of the end, but it is the end of the beginning." Well, we Americans have not yet lost to the attrition by foreign counterparts. We've just completed the end of the beginning of our nation's lifetime, and as Americans, we'll rise to reclaim the glory and innovation of our forefathers. As an end note, I'd like to thank my parents and teachers for all their strength and support throughout my school years, because without them, I would have never gotten this far. Thank you.
This is a poem by Shimrit Or entitled Anima Amin, We All Must Believe. Chanted 50 years ago during the Nazi Holocaust as a cry for hope and humanity, and today in Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, as the answer. Ha'amen batov, v'hasher machov, ha'amen ba'or habo'er, uvishat emet ten la'or latzet, kach tinhag ve'adam tisha'er. Ani ma'amin, ba'na'or batamim, b'chom u'v'lachat sharuach adam. Ani ma'amin, be'achrit hayamim, bifri et hadat ba'dam. Just believe in good, to remove the pain we should. Just believe in the light that still burns. In the time of truth, let the light shine through. Faith will bring the peace for which we all yearn. We all must believe in peoplehood, perceive the warmth and excitement in the spirit of man. We all must believe in peoplehood and perceive the value of knowledge of man. This is my only advice. Never forget that no matter our race, color, creed, or gender, we have only one planet to share and one lifetime to learn to live together in peace. So go, please, change the world, but make it a better place for all of humanity. Thank you, Mom, Dad, Dave, Grandpa Leo, Grandma B, Grandpa Lester for everything, but especially being here today. To my best friend Terry and the graduating class of 1992, Mazal Tov, congratulations and good luck.
When I think of Upper St. Clair, I think of one word, opportunity. Everyone here in my graduating class has been offered an opportunity to pursue practically anything. I believe that it is important to realize that most individuals are not blessed with so many gifts. Academically, USC has given us a foundation that is nearly incomparable to any other. In the future, our class, as a whole, will succeed for the same reasons behind our present accomplishments, our competitive nature. We have been motivated to compete even as young children, whether it be academic, social, or athletic competition. Instilled in our personalities is a drive to achieve the peak in our performance. When we entered high school, our determination and principles were tested. Well, we have passed the test and are firmly prepared for another. Personally, my past opportunities have been countless. I've only taken advantage of what has been given to me. When I speak of my opportunities, I'm talking about caring teachers, an outstanding schooling system, athletic excellence, and supportive friends. Finally, I would like to take a second to thank the most important people in my life, my family. Their support has always been there regardless of the circumstances. I simply cannot express how much that means to me. You deserve a lot of thanks. Mom and Dad, thank you, and I love you.
We learn in school that people learn from their mistakes. We also learn in school that people learn from history and make changes for the better. However, last month we watched the Rodney King verdict, and we learned everything that we had learned was wrong. So what can we learn from all this? More importantly, what can we learn that will better the future? I personally believe that we cannot learn anything, at least anything we don't already know. I think each of us has already learned how to properly treat their fellow man, regardless of their race, color, creed, or religion. It is just that sometimes each of us forgets. So I'd like to take this time to remind you that every man, woman, and child is a human being that deserves to be treated with the same respect that we should want for ourselves. If we can practice this concept instead of just remembering it, then we can change the present. And if we can always remember that just as evil spreads evil, goodness spreads goodness, we can better our future. However, like all revolutions, goodness starts slowly with a single act. Let it be yours. Thank you and good luck.
We've heard the last 14 people give advice and personal anecdotes about what the future holds for us. But my advice is, just remember that you are ultimately responsible for your own actions. So just do whatever you want, whatever works for you. Just try not to get in my way. Thank you, and that's the end of the speeches.
I'll try and stay out of the way here this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of '92 is a class that can be proud of its record. It has distinguished itself academically, partial evidence of which is the 15 valedictorians you see and have heard from this evening. They've distinguished themselves in the arts, and as Brian indicated, there are many athletic accomplishments that they have distinguished themselves. It is a class that can boast of its record. It is a class that has brought regional, state, and national recognition to our school and to our community. On behalf of the faculty, the administration, the staff, I wish to congratulate the class of '92 and wish them well. Dr. Pope, please be advised that the seniors assembled before you have satisfied the requirements for graduation that have been identified by the State Board of Education. Furthermore, Dr. Pope, these students have satisfied the requirements for graduation that have been stipulated by the Upper St. Clair Township School Board of Directors. Dr. Pope, with honor and pride, I present to you the class of 1992 of the Upper St. Clair High School.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to the threat of rain, I'm sure you're going to be upset not hearing Dr. Pope or Mr. Gabler speak, but I am sure you also came to see your son or daughter get a diploma, and without any further ado, we'd like to do that for you. No. The young man I took out, unfortunately, had a high fever and the flu. His name is Jason Vincent Perlis Alcantara, treasurer of the class of 1992. Yeah, sit. They weren't prepared for this either. Andrew David Hicks, president of the class of 1992.
Haynes, secretary, class of 1992.
Kavita Manyam Babu, valedictorian, class of 1992.
Jennifer Audrey DePalma, valedictorian, class of 1992, Executive Officer, Student Council.
Brian James Clark, valedictorian, class of 1992, and senior class vice president.
Jennifer Ellen Jackson, valedictorian, class of 1992.
Brian Jun Koo Kang, valedictorian, class of 1992.
Ryan Jackson Kime, valedictorian, class of 1992.
Leanne Kelly, valedictorian, class of 1992, and president of student council.
Sarah Harvey O'Brien, valedictorian, class of 1992.
Todd Matthew Malagary, valedictorian, class of 1992.
Allie John Radfart, valedictorian, class of 1992.
Kara Jean Pochask, valedictorian, class of 1992.
Michelle Faye Ruse, valedictorian, class of 1992.
Jeffrey Lim Yui, valedictorian, class of 1992.
James Francis Shanahan Jr., valedictorian, class of 1992.
Scott Patrick Sarek.
Hunter Reeve Underhill, valedictorian, class of 1992.
Kelly May Absalom.
Jason E. Robber.
Cheryl Melissa Adler.
Teresa Lee Libke.
Stephen Daniel Aguzzi.
Hillary Elizabeth Livingston.
Melissa I. Akins.
Michael Joseph Longeway.
Darren Lawrence Alvino.
Sherry Marie Lopresti.
Sandra Virginia Amon.
Robin Lucido.
Jonathan Errol Amick.
Joseph James Maglio.
Andrew Richard Armani.
Michael Christopher Malak.
Dean James Astorino.
Jennifer Dawn Malecki.
Michelle Lynn Abel.
Eric David Markovitz.
Meredith Lee Amer.
Jason Allen Martinsik.
Elena E. Avalon.
Michael Robert Mascaro.
Roberta Marie Ayers.
Kristen Michelle Mason.
Andrea Bailey.
Susan Elizabeth Matt.
Jeffrey Michael Barbarita.
Kristen Marie McCloskey.
Christine Elizabeth Barley.
Lisa Marie McDonald.
Michael Lawrence Bazinski.
Timothy Joseph McGarvey.
Leslie April Bass.
Michael Todd McHugh.
Courtney Elizabeth Benedict.
Kristen Hope McIntyre.
Jason Bennett.
Adam Patrick McLaughlin.
Eric Jonathan Bernstein.
Jason Carroll McMinn.
Amy Lynn Blum.
Heather Ann McNally.
Christina Caroline Bonadillo.
Denise Elaine Miller.
Jonathan Thomas Brinker.
Gregory Scott Miller.
Craig Clifton Britcher.
Benjamin Evan Moulton.
Wendy Clara Bryan.
Rebecca Ann Mua.
Stephanie Lynn Buchanan.
Scott Jefferson Mullins.
Alicia Ann Budicheski.
James Edwin Murphy.
Jennifer Allison Bugle.
Matthew Thomas Murray.
Daniel Roderick Burke.
Scott Allen Nairn.
David William Burke.
Erica Ann Nans.
David Johnson Burton.
Matthew Wayne Napier.
Lindsay Scott Kaplan.
Beatrice Carolyn Nogar.
Melissa Ann Carrier.
Johnette Diana Newsom.
Jennifer Lynn Casanova.
Kevin Walter Ogrodnik.
Sean Thomas Casey, Executive Officer, Student Council, 91, 92, and 93.
Christine Ann O'Neill.
Ryan James Selly.
Robert Wilson Ontolchik.
Teresa Suzanne Child.
Patrick Philip Ori.
Lillian Cho.
Samuel Paul Ortolano.
Adam Denmark Cohen, Executive Officer, Student Council.
Heather Lynn Pallas.
Albert Timothy Conti.
Lori Ann Panico.
David Charles Cook.
Laura Ann Pappy.
Rebecca Lynn Cooper.
Maria Margareta Petito.
Thomas Joseph Corcoran.
Greg Arthur Peffer.
Richard Matthew Cortez.
Cynthia Ann Phillips.
Brian Lee Crago.
Matthew David Phillips.
Lauren Alexandria Creeves.
Michael Patrick Phillips.
Amber Elizabeth Crook.
Jennifer Janine Phipps.
Gifford Winston Crosby II.
Donald Joseph Piquel.
Rebecca Shelby Currens.
Carolyn Elizabeth Pizzoli.
Matthew Paul Curdy, Executive Officer, Student Council.
Erin Christine Poole.
Brett J. D'Alessandro.
Cheryl Lynn Portnoy.
Michelle Elaine D'Amico.
Devin Joseph Radin.
Robert Hunter Darkwood.
Joseph Robert Raphael.
Jason John DiCarlo.
Richard John Ralston.
Brian Christian Deemer.
Gretchen Mary Raup.
Melinda Joy Deems.
Deepika Reddy.
Matthew Joseph Deep. Nicole Marie DeFrancesca.
Laurie Ann Reese.
Jamie Renee Dell.
Jennifer Lynn Rhodes.
Jennifer Helen Demetrius.
John Francis Roberts.
Craig Symington Descalzi.
Christy Mae Robinson.
David Armand DiPietro.
Lance Gregory Robinson.
Thomas Christopher Donahoe.
Nicholas Harvey Roma III.
Michael Ward Dublin.
Kimberly Lynn Rosen.
Patrick Thomas Dunn.
Bradley Joseph Roth.
Scott David Dunn.
Jason Scott Roth.
Celeste Suzanne Elash.
Jody Weber Rotherman.
Cole Paul English.
Colleen Mary Rao.
Mark William Fazio.
Kevin Christopher Rowland.
Robert Allen Fingerman.
James Cooper Thomas Rudick.
Joseph Richard Fisher.
Eric A. Roof.
Caroline Ray Fogarty.
John Michael Sequoyan.
Trisha Lynn Fulmer.
Kristen Margaret Salvino.
Melissa Ann Gatrix.
Carl Aaron Schaffel.
Jody Marie Geiger.
Sharon Ann Schilly.
Jennifer Lee Gerlach.
Matthew Paul Schulhoff.
Melissa Lee Galmus.
Timothy Jared Schultz.
Kurt Dwayne Glazer.
Holly Joe Schwartz.
Jennifer Lynn Glenn.
Farnoosh Charouz.
Eric Michael Gloff.
Kristen Lee Shomo.
Heather Renee Nagy.
Jesse Noah Silverman.
Catherine Lavinia Getchy.
Scott Edward Slogan.
Anthony Charles Green.
John David Smearman.
Jennifer Ann Gutfeld.
Richard A. Smith.
Megan Hollowell.
Jennifer Lynn Smock.
Kelly Joe Hamrick.
Karen Elizabeth Summer.
Richard Tucker Harrington.
Kara Elizabeth Spack.
Hallie Ewing Hawkins.
Sarah Lynn Sprague.
Robert James Harlock.
Daniel Adam Spratt.
Brian William Heenan.
Matthew John Springer.
Susan Ann Heineman.
James Donald Sprouse.
Gregory Paul Hensler.
Jessica Lenore Stewart.
Jeffrey M. Hensler.
Shannon Rebecca Stoughton.
Wendy Megan Hilbert.
Magdalena Helena Strovis.
Andrea Joanne Hockenberry.
Michael Struken.
Susan Marie Hoffman.
Darcy Lynn Telban.
Brian Robert Koch Holmes.
David C. Temple.
Martin Homan.
Stephanie Denise Thelk.
Frank Patrick Horvath.
John Matthew Thomas.
Brian Michael Howcroft.
John Patrick Thomas.
Gregory Patrick Howcroft.
Richard Foster Thomas II.
Amanda Liddell Hunt.
Stephanie Lynn Thomas.
Grant Dwight Jackson.
Victoria Lynn Tidswell.
Christopher Matthew Jeffrey.
Jan Tingy.
Robert Jewett Jenkins III.
Kathleen Marie Tobin.
Laura Elizabeth Johnson.
Amy Lynn Todorovich.
Andrew Christopher Jones.
Craig Anthony Totino.
John Michael Junko.
Melissa Charlene Toy.
Brian Douglas Cargill.
Jennifer Robin Troll.
Stephanie Lee Katzer.
Noelle Ann Turetsky.
Abigail Deborah Coffer.
Kevin Blakely Uffelman.
Amy Heather Coffer.
Amy Elizabeth Vilsack.
Denise Elizabeth King.
Brian E. Vogel.
Leslie Ann Click.
Shannon Elizabeth Wagner.
Daniel Edward Kotarski II.
Jessica Ann Walker.
Emily Ann Cram.
Scott Christopher Weekland.
Jason Michael Kranak.
Deanna Lynn Webb.
Jason Eli Kravitz.
Patrick James Werner.
Akimetsu Allen Kurose.
Stephanie Jean Wetzel.
Peter McNamara Lacey.
Jeremy Alexander Winterson.
Corey Joan Lamberson.
Jeffrey David Wallaber.
Emily Louise Lands.
Anina Christine Walken.
Robert Michael Lands.
Rebecca Woodworth.
Nathan John LaRosa.
Lawrence Tobin Yogman.
Renee Marie LeBlond.
Julie Ann Zagar.
Richard H. Lee.
Nicole Electra Zanos.
Anne Marie Limecooler.
Michael Bradley Zeller.
Stephen Daniel Levine.
Scott Emil Ziegler.
William Richard Lewis.
Paul Zonneveld. Amy Lynn Zupon.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the graduated class of 1992.